invite you to my BBQ?
No.
Then why are you all up in my grill?
Literally looking camp, dead straight down the barrel. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Me? I got a cactus this week and I've literally pricked my hand on it maybe 17 times. Natural selection's coming for me. But how are you? How's it going? Are you taking care of yourself? You better be. Or else. Today, I've got my red notebook. I've got my Muji pen because we are talking about the Clique movie from 2008. If you don't know the Clique or the clique, my brain wants to call it clique, but I think it's the Clique. Am I stupid? The Clique movie is a 2008 feature film based on the book series by Lacey Harrison. I was looking this up because I read the Clique books throughout it was like my middle school experience. It was like a very formative reading experience for me. There are 20 of them. I haven't read all 20. I think I read the first 10 though. They're basically kind of a middle grade YA book about a clique of girls and they're all in middle school and they're just really fucking mean to each other and they wear nice clothes, but they're all deeply, deeply insecure. And at 12, I went, that's literature. Thank you very much. The books are great. I reread a couple of them last year to recapture the nostalgia that was being 13 and thinking when I become an adult, life will be wonderful and I will achieve so much and that will make me happy. I thought I could return there for a bit as opposed to living in the horror that is reality. And they hold up. They don't, but you know what I mean? There's a lot of fat phobia and slut shaming. It's but they're fun. They bring that nostalgia. It's the kind of problematic that just exists in any early 2000s/90s movie. It's not good, but it is escapism nonetheless. Instead of saying don't kink shame me, I should say don't escapism shame me. Don't escapism shame me. Don't. Clique series basically follows Claire Lyons, who's a regular girl. She's just regular. She's not like the other girls. She moves from Florida to Westchester, which is a suburb of New York. It's super rich, and she meets Massey Block, who is the queen bee, and she wants to get into Massey's clique, but they say, no, you're poor, it's disgusting. And then it's just about her trying to kind of scam her way in. And I just am making a video today because I rewatched the movie recently and I think it deserves better. It is a masterpiece. It is. The Clique movie is looking camp in the eye and is not afraid. It really isn't. I'm just gonna walk you through the Clique movie. We're gonna talk about why it's a masterpiece, why it is just a lesson in camp and satire, and why I think it's a good movie. Do I know anything about film? No. I don't really care about movies. But this was good. Oh, Reed, you silly goose. Oh, hey, girl bosses. Didn't see you there. I'm just hanging around on the internet and watching Netflix. Well, since you're here, why don't we take a moment to talk about this week's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network, which in girl boss talk basically allows you to encrypt your data and keep it safe when it's coming between you and the internet. It's a scary world out there and I just want to keep my besties safe. So I've been using Surfshark VPN for a while. I'm not just being a good saleswoman. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Here's why. A VPN lets you change your IP address's country, so you can unblock a lot of shows on Netflix and other geo-restricted content. So I'm in Canada, and living in Canada is great for so many reasons, but you miss out on so much content on Netflix. So I use Surfshark to go onto American Netflix, Sly, and I watch Criminal Minds. Also, if you're incredibly paranoid like me, Surfshark helps you protect your private data from corporations and cyber criminals and stuff like that. I also use their clean web feature to block ads and trackers, malware, phishing scams, all that. The internet is a wild west. I'm scared of it. I want to protect myself. You should protect yourself too. So if you go to the link in the description and use the code uncarley, you get 83% off plus 3 months free. Let it sink in. Also, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you try it out and it's not your jam, no worries. It's risk-free. Thank you so much to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into it. Before I start, I do think it is just worth noting that the director of this movie is the same director who directed Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. It's just important to me that you know that. So basically, the inciting event that kicks off the clique, we are at Massey Block's house, and Massey is the queen bee. She's the alpha of the pretty committee. She's the most popular girl in 7th grade. She's invited to an 8th grade party, and her friends are the only 7th graders invited. Can you believe it? I can't. But Claire Lyons shows up. Claire is kind of dorky and poor, but she's like not poor. It's just everyone in this movie is disgustingly rich. Claire is probably upper middle class, but that's not enough because these are 12-year-olds in full designer clothes. These 12-year-olds wearing muumuus. Is that how you say that brand? Miu Miu's? Muumuus, but she's kind of dorky and poor and doesn't dress the way that Massey thinks is right because Claire has bad bangs and wears overalls. Because her family is moving to Westchester, Claire is staying in Massey's guest house. Literally wish it was me. The guest house is huge. It's like the size of a full house. And Massey can't go to the party because her mom's like, you gotta have dinner with us and the Lyonses. So Massey calls her friends and cancels on the party and says that the reason they can't go is because the girl who is hosting the party wears Crocs. Which, you know, again, fair enough. But Massey, she's the queen bee, the original definition of gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. She's incredibly mean. She's so fucking mean to adults and kids. But she's like kind of like Regina George, Chanel Oberlin character that's like very catty, very mean. But it relates back to like a deep insecurity and like very base level psychological needs not being met. She feels like shit because in 7th grade, everyone feels like absolute shit. So she lashes out. Her second in command, her beta, as it were, which, you know, doesn't age great, is named Alicia. Her whole personality in this movie is just that she's Spanish. She's just from Spain, and she's pretty and loves gossip. That's her personality. Her other friend is Kristen. Kristen is played by Bridget Mendler of Good Luck Charlie fame and fortune of Lemonade Mouth. You might know her. She's like smart and sporty. That's her whole thing. So she's like really into school and wants to get good grades. And for the fucking life of me, I can't figure out why she's friends with these girls. Like, they all wear designer clothes and she seems to like fashion and like popularity, but that seems to be like their uniting force. Just that they like to be popular. I have questions about why Bridget Mendler is friends with them. And then finally they have Dylan. Dylan is their friend whose personality is being ginger and she has body dysmorphia. I'm not kidding. If you are triggered by eating disorder talk or diet talk, don't watch this movie. Like, her personality is just thinking she's fat. That's like her personality. It's so wild to see now. Like, it's so wild to be like, this is a movie for 12-year-olds. What is this messaging? They're all popular. They run. OCD, as they call it. The school's name is Octavian Country Day. OCD for short. Yikes. They all are fashionable and like wear like designer clothes. And that's that. That's kind of their whole thing. They just like to be mean and are rich. So you're caught up. But basically, they start at school. Massey's driver picks up everyone and drives them to school. Literally imagine that. I fucking wish. And they give a ride to Claire, obviously. And Massey makes Claire sit in the back because she's rude. She's being mean to Claire. She's exiling Claire to the back. And Claire is really not doing herself any favors here. She's wearing a shirt that says, good girls go to Orlando, bad girls go to Miami. And she's eating gummy feet, which as far as I can tell are just gummy, like sour gummies in the shape of feet. But she's really not doing herself any favors in terms of like getting herself in the group. But it is important for me to mention that this movie's idea of fashion is having all of these 12-year-olds dress up like young Republican senators. They have them wearing some Meghan McCain looking power suit. They're dressed like young Republicans. Like, I'm sorry, maybe I went to a different school. This is what I looked like in 7th grade. I was not wearing a blazer suit moment. I looked like this. So they go to school. Claire has art class with Alicia and Kristen. At one point, Alicia splatters red paint on the back of Claire's jeans, like as a prank to make it seem like she got her period. So Claire has to go to the nurse's office because the art teacher's like, oh, you've got your period, and everyone's laughing at her. It's so obviously red paint. Like, not to really harp and talk about periods. We don't need to like talk about the consistency and color of a period, but if you know, you know. And it's not bright like fire truck red paint. That's not what it looks like. It looks like blood. It doesn't look like red paint, but whatever. Then she goes to the nurse. The nurse is like, oh, honey, periods aren't anything to be ashamed of. And she's like, but I don't have a period. Which, like, fair enough. It doesn't look like a period. It looks like red paint on your white jeans. But the nurse is like, well, have some of these leftover clothes. These girls don't care about last week's fashion, blah, 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 blah. So Claire then wears the lost and found clothes, and she's finally got like her Massey block designer clothes, meaning she's dressed like a Republican senator on their way to block an abortion bill. And at this point, it's my favorite moment in the whole film, literally looking camp, dead straight down the barrel. Claire's wearing her young Republican senator outfit. She's in the cafeteria. And the music they play is a song they had the actress who plays Claire sing. It's like, how did I end up here? One of the cool kids this year. Like, it's so fucking funny to me. Meanwhile, Massey is a horse girl. She's riding her horse Brownie on her private trail, because I guess that's what people do. And Chris Abley, who is a 9th grader, he is on her trail. And she's like, hey, this is a private trail. Because you know how these kinds of people be. They're like, get off my property. But then she sees he's a cute boy and not like a worker or a poor person. And she's like, you can stay. You can ride on my trail. And he's riding his horse too, right? And she finds out that he's back. He was at boarding school and he got kicked out and now he's back. So he's like a bad boy. The dialogue in this scene, I reference it constantly and no one has any idea what I'm talking about. She's like, you're on my private trail. But she sees that he's a hot guy, right? And then he goes, oh, sorry. Must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. And then she goes, or the right one. Like, it's such a strange way that no human ever talks, and I love it. But she basically is like, I have a crush on Chris Abley now. Chris Abley is so hot. At the same time, Claire is meeting Lane Abley, who's Chris Abley's younger sister, but we don't know that yet. Lane is a hot topic weirdo. They kind of start becoming friends because Lane is like a regular girl who's not an actual sociopathic bullier. Lane's personality is being insanely weird and awkward and also eating oatmeal. Like, Lane gives me the vibes of like a girl who wears cat ears to school. And they're like, oh my god, let's have a sleepover this weekend. So they make those plans. Then the night of, Massey's mom invites Claire to Massey's sleepover, and Claire immediately cancels on Lane. Claire has like a chance at real friendship with a nice girl, gets invited to the popular girl sleepover and goes, bye! Immediately dumps her. Claire is the villain of this story. Massey set boundaries and said, no poor people in my friend group. No, that's not right. But you know what I mean? Like, Massey was mean. It's not right to be mean to someone, but you also shouldn't then try and be friends with her. And this might seem like I'm victim blaming, and I kind of am right now, but then Claire does some pretty shit stuff in this movie. Claire is an anti-hero. She immediately cancels on Lane. Lane is like, hey, I'm a good friend and you just met me and maybe we have some things in common. And Claire said, that's nice, but I just got invited to a sleepover with Massey Block, so I'm leaving, bye. So then she shows up to the sleepover. It's revealed that Massey's mom invited Claire without telling Massey. Then they have a sleepover, whatever, they are mean to her. They like do like a would you rather, and the would you rather is, would you be a friendless loser or a person with a bunch of friends who secretly hate you? But everyone says like, oh, I'd rather have a bunch of friends that secretly hate me, yeah. And then Claire's like, oh, well, I'd rather be a friendless loser. And Massey in her head is also like, I'd rather be a friendless loser. But I can't say that because of peer pressure. So I'm saying I also want a bunch of friends that hate me, but like we know that they like agree. They're soul sisters. They understand each other. Then later, Massey finds out that Lane is Chris Abley's younger sister. She tries to start befriending her secretly, like taking her to get nails done, stuff like that, because she wants to like get details of Chris Abley out of her. And she really blows up Claire's spot with Lane because Massey immediately reveals that Claire canceled on Lane to go to her sleepover. And it's mean, but like also, Claire, you did that. Like, you can't be mad at people for revealing the shitty thing you did. And also at this point, Massey has stolen Chris Abley's hat because it fell off his head on the trail and is wearing it everywhere, which is the most realistic part of this whole film. Like, when you are 12 and you don't really know what flirting is or relationships are, you're like, wearing a guy's hat is the same thing as dating. So to get back at Massey, when Massey is walking her pug every night named Bean, absolutely sweet, using a real dog actor, which I love. Because I watched Cruella the other day and they have 5 dogs in that movie and they CGI all of them. I have to believe there's some dog actors union. That means you can't just start CGIing dogs. Give the role to a dog actor. That's what the Clique did. So she's a pug named Bean and she has to walk Bean every night. So when she walks Bean, Claire sneaks into her room and starts IMing the rest of the pretty committee as Massey to like ruin Massey's life. And this is devious. I will admit, like, it is so fucking unhinged. Like, that is girl boss energy. This is fucking Claire's Joker origin story. This is the Joker for 12-year-old girls. She got bullied and she went, I'm gonna ruin your life. So she finds out through talking to Kristen that the reason Kristen cares about her grades so much is because Kristen is actually poor, which, you know, in this movie is bad, and has to keep a scholarship. She tells Alicia that Massey, like herself, but like that Massey's been hanging out with Lane and that she likes like Lane better than the pretty committee. And then she tells Dylan her legs are too fat to wear a miniskirt, which is problematic, if I must say so. But then Kristen won't talk to Massey because she thinks that Massey is going to tell her secret about being poor to people. Dylan's not talking to Massey because Massey body shamed her and she's 12. And Alicia isn't talking to Massey because she thinks that she's replacing Alicia with Lane. So Massey's screwed. They're not friends with Massey anymore. They're friends with Claire now. Then they have this like really fun shopping montage because there's like a charity mixer that they're all gonna have to go to, and they go to like buy dresses at the mall. And it perfectly encapsulates 2004 to like 2010 mall culture. It made me miss the mall. And I don't want to go, like, I don't ever shop at the mall. The days when you're like 13 years old and you're like, let's just go to the mall. I'll get an Orange Julius and then we'll just like walk around for 6 hours. Like, it's that. And I was like, fuck, that looks so fun. So they just go to the mall. But then Massey eventually figures out through talking to Kristen that Claire has been sneaking onto her IM. So they catch her in a conference call, and it's just like, originally it's just like one of the girls being like, hey Claire, and then she like makes Claire shit talk someone else, and then the other girl's like, I'm also here. And they're like, we know what you did. So then Claire has to go back to Lane and is like, Lane, can we be friends? And Lane takes her back, which like, Lane, you can do better. Claire's like, I know I ditched you to be popular, but they ditched me. Can I come back? And Lane's like, fine, I guess. I love oatmeal, by the way. So then they go on a field trip. I can't mention all of the complexities of this movie. I have to brush over a little bit of it, right? This whole time, they're basically starting a lip gloss company for one of their business classes. It's called Glambition. And there's like the Massey flavor, the Dylan flavor, and it's like homemade organic lip gloss. But they started a lip gloss company and they're like, we'll sell it on the bus to the field trip. But they used peanut oil to make the lip gloss. So a bunch of the girls who bought it, not knowing that it had peanut oil in it and are allergic to peanuts, their lips start swelling. So they effectively poison most of their classmates via lips. And then Claire gets a little anonymous text saying, oatmeal helps with allergic reactions. And who do we know that loves oatmeal? Lane motherfucking Abley. Lane Oatmeal Abley to the rescue. Miss, my personality is liking oatmeal. So she gave oatmeal to everyone and helped them. And that's the end of it. That's the end of the clique. It's literally the best piece of cinema ever created. I think it deserves Oscars. I think it deserves Emmys. Hell, put it up on stage, give it a Tony, you know? I think it's good because it perfectly encapsulates the ugliness of early 2000s fashion. Not this Y2K bullshit. People are like, it's Y2K, and it's like, yeah, you're wearing cute clothes. Y2K is not about cute clothes. Y2K is the ugliest fucking clothes you've ever imagined. So I think it perfectly encapsulates that. It perfectly encapsulates how masochistic 11-year-olds are, in that they will be friends and want to be friends with the meanest fucking people. And I think it looks camp in the eye. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Let me know if you like the clique, if you've watched it before, what you think of it, if you've read the books. Other than that, I'll see you soon. Bye.